Hi, it's Debbie Gilbert from the Business Awards Show, and I'm also the founder of the Best Businesswomen Awards and the Best SME Awards. And today I'm joined by Tejal Prajapati, an award-winning branding consultant and designer. She's the founder of TP Creative. Tejal specializes in helping businesses generate more leads through powerful strategic design. She has a real focus on impact, storytelling, and transformation. And she's built her reputation for not just creating beautiful brands, but delivering measurable results for her clients. So today we are going to be diving into her journey and her insights about the design industry. So welcome to Tejal.
Welcome. Oh, thank you for having me.
Oh, well, I think the last time I saw you, you were on the stage at the Best Business Women Awards collecting a silver award.
I was.
How exciting was that?
It was super exciting. My first time, and it was very good to be on stage.
Oh, lovely. Well, we're going to talk about your awards journey later. But on the Business Awards show, we start off by talking about what made you start your own business because you'd spent 16 years in corporate in a design agency and then went out on your own. So talk us through that and what the decisions around doing that were.
Yeah, so it did start off as a really good career, and it still is. But what happened along the way was in those 16 years, I did move up from like junior designer to middleweight to senior to art director. So things were going really good. You had the normal highs of lows of agency life, but it was generally going on the up with everything that was happening in the career. But then something happened where I no longer felt like it was aligning with me. Maybe it came at a point where in my life I had different circumstances, whereas before, like I was almost like free as a bird.
Mm.
Whereas as the years went on, I had a family, I had children, and that started having an impact on my career and bringing that kind of that responsibility, that are carrying that responsibility and having more of that in the corporate space and creating a place where I felt like where I was before wasn't quite aligning with me. So something had to change because that alignment was no longer there anymore.
And how many years ago was that?
That was about 7 years ago. My eldest is now 15, so I sort it. I saw it through. After having it was fine after having one child. It was fine after having two, but then after having three,
Oh
it
my
was
gosh,
the
you've got
tipping
three.
point. Yeah, I got three girls, and so that was the tipping point where I was like, okay, it's taken me three children to realize that the corporate space is not going to be working for me for the long term.
Mm.
Hence, then I started TP Creative because naturally, when you see that self-worth and you see your potential and you feel that it's not fulfilled in the workplace, you start looking around for other options.
And how do you juggle bringing up three children with a business? Have you got tips for anybody on that?
Oh, yeah. I would actually say make your business one of your children.
Ah, it's a good tip. I like that one. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I do actually say I've got four children and I look after it just like I do the other three. And I give it its priority. And it's probably the youngest out of the three because that's 7 years old and my youngest is 10. But yeah, I give it just as much love and attention as my children. And I want to see it grow and flourish just like them. And, you know, yeah, motherhood does have its challenges, but it also empowers you to understand your worth and what you want to give back. And having three girls, I'm very keen to show them that you can also change your path in your career should you want to start off on your own. So I am living that through my own journey to explain to them that if the corporate world does not work out for you in any shape or form, I can help you, support you, because I'm living proof to say that this can happen for you as well.
I'm sure they're very inspired by you.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think I think only time will tell. But what they are always interested to know now is who am I working with? Because before, when I'm working in the corporate space, it was in an office, so I would be going somewhere else, and they would not have any idea of what I was working on. Whereas now, because I'm working from home or I work in a co-working space, they get to see the projects and they get to understand what it's like to run a business, what graphic design is all about, what networking is all about, what sales and the numbers. Like they understand so many things just by being present around me.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
It
So
is.
let's go back to talking about your business and your industry. So, obviously over the years, we've got these programs like Canva and Adobe Express, and, people feel they can do their own design, but generally they don't do it very well. So let's talk about the difference between nice design and design that actually drives results. What is it that small businesses need to actually get their brand out there, and why should they work with somebody like you?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. And the biggest is that I would actually say to businesses that if that's the route that they want to take and they want to pursue taking it in-house and doing their own designs, then let them do it. I've had to make peace with Canva and Adobe Express because before then there was just Paint and Word and PowerPoint and the designs were very restricted, whereas now a lot of businesses think that the using those platforms is the best thing for them. So I let them use them because and I don't feel threatened by it because I'm like that's if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. I come at a place where they've all used those platforms and they've felt that it's no longer aligning with their brand, and now they're
Mm.
really ready to amplify and they're really ready to create something that is bespoke to their brand, that they really want to be positioned in the marketplace as a leader, and that they want to really make sure that their message is now aligning with their brand so succinctly that no AI tool, no Canva tool, nothing like that can do it. You need the strategic thinking. And the strategic thinking comes from somebody like myself, because then that's where we're not just creating designs that look good, but it's all aligned with that deeper foundation because it's all strategy led.
And how do you think AI is going to impact your industry over the next few years?
It's massive. It already is having a major impact already. AI is a tool that should be embraced, I feel. I use it every day, even at the weekends. There's not a time that I don't use it, and I have taken it into my stride. I now educate other people on how to use AI more effectively and how to use prompts more effectively, which platform is better for them, Gemini, ChatGPT, Copilot, Claude, because I use an array of different ones, and then I can say to my clients that this one would be good for you. And so, I'm like an experiment within myself to say, okay, how should we be using this?
Mhm.
The other side is that people are using it too much and they're relying on it too much. So I always educate people to say, use your own creativity first, use your own brain first, use your own thought process first, use your own opinions first, and then use AI to embellish it. Don't go the other way around. I find that people put all their prompts in first and expect magic, and it's not going to happen. The magic is within you, and that's what you should hone down in because no AI can replicate that. And then use AI to embellish and refine and tweak and get to the result quicker.
So, a big question I think a lot of people don't really understand about AI generated graphics is, do they own that if they generate it on ChatGPT, or is it out there for everybody to use?
Well, it is out there for everybody to use, and that's the problem, is that everybody is using it. So then if you want to differentiate yourself in the market, you can't because somebody else would have put in the same prompt and got the same results, and they are then, just sounding the same as you. Hence, that's why people are saying that, this just feels like AI generated, whether it's images, whether it's copy, whether it's messaging, it feels AI. And so we need to steer away from that as much as possible. So it's important to be using it as a tool and to be mindful that it's not the end result. And you are the beginning, use it as the middle, and you are the end to check to make sure that it is bespoke to you, and allow that process to happen, that it's not the end goal, it's part of the
Mm.
process.
That's really good advice, actually. So let's talk about the role of storytelling in branding. So when you're working with a client, what role does that play when you're evolving somebody's brand?
Yeah, so storytelling is huge because what storytelling allows me to do is position the brand as as a way of bringing out more than just your services. You're not just coming at it saying that this is what we do. We actually have to position ourselves in the minds of the audience to say, this is how these are the problems that you are experiencing. These are the challenges that you're experiencing. And your messaging comes through empathy. And then the story takes you through understanding that problem, showing that empathy, and then it comes to providing a solution after that. And that's where your services could potentially help them. So that's where storytelling is key, because you're taking them through a journey and you're making them come to their own realization that they have a problem. Sometimes people don't realize that they have a problem until you bring that realization. So storytelling really allows you to unpack the challenges that they have, and then provide a solution that then feels aligned with them, and they no longer feel sold to. They feel as if they're just part of the process of you being of service to them. You're no longer selling, you're then being of service, and that's what storytelling can be.
Yeah, it's a really useful tool, isn't it? Very useful.
Yeah.
So often businesses will, let's say, hash up a logo on Canva, for example, when they get started. And then maybe 2 to 3 years down the line, they start to realize that potentially someone else has got a very similar brand to them, or that they're just not standing out in the marketplace. But I often find when I talk to people is they're very attached to whatever logo it is they've had created, and they're reluctant to change it. What sort of advice can you give to people who think, oh, I do know I need to change it, but I'm a bit nervous about changing it? How can they make that transition and change their branding?
Yeah, that is a really good question. And it's all about mindset. It's knowing where you want to be. Because if you feel as if in your heart that you want to shift your identity, you want to position yourself in the market as a different brand, you want to be seen as a leader in that industry, then that branding has to change. You don't have a choice. And there is so much reluctance. There's reluctance because they're so attached to it, and it means so much to them because they've built up that credibility with that logo. But at the same time, you have to see it as an evolution. All brands, Apple, Microsoft, they are all having evolutions over time. And so as business owners, you have to accept that the evolution in your own brand identity will happen at some stage, and that will feel when you feel as if you are no longer aligned with that brand, and it's almost like giving you the ick, and you're like, okay, yeah, this is not sitting alongside my competitors. I am not looking like as polished or premium or professional or whatever it is. Something will be niggling at you, that you feel that is not right. And when that feeling comes about, then that's the feeling to tap into and say, okay, I need to shift my identity. And then that goes back to the brand, and the brand identity will then need to be looked at.
It's so true. I mean, I'm going to share my little story with you about the Best Businesswomen Awards. So, when we launched in 2015, I got a designer to do a logo, which I thought was designed by him. And we went along with that logo for years up until 2021, when somebody sent me a logo of a kombucha brand, a drink, which was my logo, but green. Okay, so I thought, oh my gosh, they're using my logo. So I did a search on Google with this logo just to see where they were using it and everything. And this logo came up numerous places. Numerous people were using this logo. So I got in touch with the kombucha brand and I said, can I just ask where you got this logo because it's my logo. And they said, oh, we bought it off a stock site. So this guy had long since shut his graphic design business and disappeared into the sunset. I couldn't get hold of him. And I went onto the stock site and there it was.
Oh,
He'd
yeah.
taken the stock image, which was two hands together, looking like the trunk of a tree, and the stars across the top, which were the sort of leaves of the tree, and put it in black and gold, which was my colours that I wanted. So immediately I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to rebrand because who wants a kombucha drink out there with the same logo that you've got? So that was an expensive process because, I literally had to sit down with a designer, but I didn't want to get rid of the star element because that's part of what I feel. I want people to feel like a superstar when they get their award and redesign everything. And the cost, for all the new banners, all the new stationery, everything that we had to go through, and obviously getting a designer to do the new branding and the new brand guidelines and everything. So I think sometimes as well, it's worth, if you're not sure about who you're working with, is to do a bit of a reverse image search on whatever logo they give you because
Yeah.
it's frightening, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is not the first time I've heard of this story. It's happened before as well, and it's a known situation where people take assets from stock library, and you are entitled to use stock
Yeah,
images. A bit like you because you paid for it. The stock library, you have paid for that asset. It's not like you've taken it from Google, because
no,
taking it from Google is not allowed, but taking it from a stock library, you can. So officially, nobody's done anything wrong. But
no.
what's happened is that they've then executed it for different businesses, which actually, and what would be worrying, even more worrying, is if it was another awards
I
uh,
know. Can you
a
imagine?
business. I know. I mean that would be even worse. But again, it's always putting things into
Mm.
perspective and seeing, okay, yeah, we have to spend more money to redesign these things. But actually, you see that process as your refresh, as your rebirth, and as your new brand identity that you step into. And so use the opportunity to then elevate your positioning in the marketplace. Because before, your brand was led by stock library, and now
Mm.
you would actually have the understanding to let the next designer know that I don't want my logo to come from a stock library, and can we make sure that doesn't happen? So again, in that creation process of designing the logo, they are aware of what you don't want. So, those parameters are put in place from the get-go. So a designer would then create something bespoke to your business
Yeah,
and make
which
sure
is
it's not a
which is what I thought he'd done. But obviously, I think it's a really good point that you've just made. So if you're working with a designer, you need to actually say, please make sure you create my logo from scratch,
yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we are all entitled to use stock.
Mm.
And it's the same across with images, and it's the same across with logos as well. Is that we are entitled to. There's nothing illegal about that.
No, no,
So
no.
yeah,
But it was something I wasn't aware of until it happened to
yes.
me.
Exactly, and I think that awareness piece needs to be shared as well, quite openly, to say this asset has been taken from here. I'm making you aware, but I've tweaked it, so then I've done this. So
Yeah.
again, I would not use the final icon from a stock library, from ChatGPT, from any AI tool. I would always tweak it, and it goes back to that thing of,
Mm.
always top and tail it with your own brand.
Yeah, that's
Use the middle bit to help execute the plan, and the strategy, and the execution of that brand activation process. But again, top and tail it with your own brand strategy and your own brand look, which will be bespoke to you.
yeah, good advice there. So let's talk about awards now. So, when did awards first appear on your radar?
Well, awards appeared in my radar a very long time ago when I was when we were submitting awards for when I was working in the advertising world. And
Mhm.
so that was a big thing where they used to spend thousands and thousands submitting project work. It was all about the project work, and it was all about submitting thousands of pounds to get your project featured, and you would get gold, silver, bronze for your project. And so that's what we did in the agency world, in advertising agencies, and is what we did. When I started my business in 2018, awards for myself was never an agenda at all in any shape or form. I was not aware of women's awards later on till about 2021, where I started realizing that, oh, people are going for awards. And I thought, oh, because I started in 2028, I was like, sorry, 2018. I knew that I wasn't in myself, I wasn't quite ready, and I had to allow the process of growing my business and then put myself forward. So it was only um, uh, 3 years later, after starting my business, that awards came into my business.
And then what was the first awards that you ever entered?
That was another award, which was a Women's Who Award,
Mhm.
and that was something that was felt like a nice entry point for me.
Mm.
Then once I entered those awards, it opened my world, and I realized that actually it's not just about entering one awards; you can enter multiple awards. So I was like, oh, okay, let's try this. And Debbie, you came into one of Women Who Awards, uh, uh, one of the days that she had, and spoke about your awards, and I was like, oh, is this a thing? And then I didn't realize. So then I then put myself forward for one of your awards, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's gonna be the same kind of process, but was I wrong? It was a very different process, in itself.
So, what was the difference? What did you realize was the big differentiator between the Women Who and the Best Business Women Awards?
Well, the biggest difference was that the first time I entered, I didn't get through. And I was like, I know, a shocker. And I was like, but I've been doing these awards for so many years with the Woman Who. How come I haven't got through with Debbie? And I was like, what makes Debbie's award so different that I can't get through? And I was like, my work is good, and I've been running my business. So I didn't quite understand what the process was actually. And that realization came to me, is that every awards process, every awards company has a different process. So you
Mm.
have to understand their process. And so the first time I did enter, I didn't get through, and I was kind of taken aback. But then he came to, the feedback was that you didn't provide enough evidence. And I was
Mm.
like, what's all this evidence? What's all that about? Um, and again, it was another eye opener. So rather than taking that process to stop me from, like feeling rejected, I actually used that to learn what
Mm.
is this about. So then you did a webinar on um, uh, how to put a really effective application, and I listened to that, and I digested it, and I spent like a month then working on the next entry, collating the data,
Mm.
putting the right evidence in place for the right sections, and then it was a much more rigorous process, but it felt like this was like me now going up a
Mm.
notch. And I was able to really articulate that application as really a wholesome
mm,
experience where it wasn't just about writing the application in the entry, it was about forming the evidence. And that required work.
mm.
And it was well worth doing that work because then it allowed me to really dig deep, like really deep, and um, ask my clients for testimonials geared towards that topic. So I would say, look, I need to submit this, and I was able to have these open and honest conversations with my clients to say, look, I'm submitting the entry. Can This is the kind of topics that we're going to be talking about. So really, it wasn't just saying to my clients, can you provide me a testimonial? It was actually gearing that evidence around that information that I wanted to provide.
I always say to people, if you can get through the Best Businesswomen Awards, if you can get to the final, because our judging is quite strict, I think you've picked that up, then you can pretty much enter any awards. Because if you've got that process right and our judges have marked you up and gone, yeah, this is definitely a good business, and we can see all the evidence that backs that up, you've got the blueprint to enter anything. But we love Sandra and we love Sandra's awards. Sandra's been on the podcast and she has a slightly different process in as much as you do judges' interviews, don't you? So tell us what that was like.
Yeah, so I actually did go have had my interview this week for that, and so
Oh,
yeah, it was nerve-wracking, and it is a different process. I think the way they want to see it is read the application and then they want to see they want an opportunity to fill in any gaps. You
mm,
may not have answered everything correctly in the way that they wanted, and so it's giving you an opportunity to sell yourself in another way. And yeah, what better way to do it than just talking? And so
mm,
yeah, you interviewed by two people, and they ask any questions that they want that you haven't answered correctly in your application, and they really want to know your story, and they want
mm,
to know your passion, and they want to see that coming through. And so I guess that's probably part of their process is understanding what they want to hear, and which is that ultimate passion and your impact, and they want to hear all the good juicy stuff directly from the horse's mouth, essentially.
which is amazing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the impact of these awards on you and your business. What's been the biggest benefit to you from entering and winning awards?
Well, the biggest benefit is just knowing in myself that I'm going in the right direction.
Mm,
The awards are a really good way of reflecting where you have come from. So, you reflect on the year. When you fill in application forms, you're not writing from like 10 years ago or 5 years. You're writing for that year. So then it's a really good process just to reflect on the year. And if you apply for them annually, that means that you're doing that reflection annually as well. And if you're doing it multiple times in the year as well, again, you're doing those micro little reviews within your business. So it's two sides really. Number one is reflection of your own business and understanding what you've been working on and how far you've come, or any obstacles you've faced and overcome, so you can then you do a brain dump of all of that. And then the other part is sharing it with the world, and knowing, yeah, people aren't going to know your entry to any degree, any shape or form whatsoever, because that's just, between yourselves. But what you can do is say that, I have put myself forward, and I have something to share, and I have something to celebrate. And, you take them on that journey, and they feel so happy to congratulate you. You feel so happy to share. So it's a celebratory moment in itself. And I think that initial ick that you might have of, oh, I'm not good enough, to put myself forward for awards. Once you get into the rhythm, that feeling quickly goes away. So I think that initial feeling, once you get over that, you will then maximize the impact that it can have, which is take everybody else on that journey with you. Encourage other women to apply for awards, because you just say to them, well, if I can do it, you can do it, and then you just rally people along with you. And one example is my 10-year-old, who's now 15, she entered an award, a ladies' first award, before me. And for her business, she had a calligraphy business, and she won an award before me. And I was like, how is this happening? I know. So I understood that, okay, look, it's not about age, it's not about like, the how old the business is, it's just about your story and your passion. And she really articulated that really well. And she showed that at such a young age. And I was like, well, that's an example of a mother saying, well, if my daughter can do it, I
Mm,
can do it. So it was my daughter that when I saw her progress, and I submitted her application because I was like, oh, glorifying my daughter, and it's easy to glorify other people than it is
mm.
yourself. So I understand. But then once I got over that, and I was like, well, if my daughter can do it, I can do it. And then I tell other people that if I can do it, you can do it. So you just need that little push. But once you're there, then it's fantastic.
We'll have to get your daughter on the podcast.
Yeah, yeah,
Calligraphy queen, by the sounds of it.
yeah.
Interesting she's gone into calligraphy because that's quite design arty. Have your children sort of inherited your passion for design?
Well, they've definitely got that creative streak in them. My husband is very maths, and I'm very creative. So they got a balance of both.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, they do. They do have balance of both. So they have best of both worlds, really.
Hmm.
She wants to do lots of creative things, but she's got her head screwed on when it comes to finances and knowing, okay, yeah, now the next generation is what job can I go into that I can get the most amount of money?
I'm hearing that a lot. I am hearing that a lot. They're very aware nowadays, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's round up the podcast by let's talk about what your plans are for the next 12 months. What's on your agenda?
Okay, so yeah, the agenda is to get out there more. I have got a big focus around exhibitions, so I love attending exhibitions. I love being part of them. So I offer like webinars on how to maximize everything from exhibitions. So I will be running webinars this year on how to make the most of exhibitions, and for exhibitors, I will be exhibiting myself as well. So that is the agenda for the next 12 months, is to really become uh, confident in myself, in my business, on having exhibitions as one of my marketing strategies. And I'm very good at helping other people design their stands and their things. But when it comes to myself, that's something that I need to start developing.
Yeah, great. I mean, I used to own an exhibition company. I just sold it just over a year ago. I used to own the Three Counties Expo, and I ran that for nearly 10 years. And it always used to amaze me that people would turn up with very little to catch attention on their stands. And yet the people who did turn up with very eye-catching banners or eye-catching things on their stands, they were the ones that got attention. People
Yeah.
came over and talked to them. So definitely that's absolutely something that businesses definitely need is support on that. So
Yes.
thank you for joining me today. It's been lovely talking to you and hearing about your journey. And I think your children are definitely ones to watch as well here. You're going to be an award-winning family.
Apart from
So
my
next,
husband, he doesn't like the limelight. So yeah,
oh, he
it'll be me
doesn't.
and my girls. But it's all about girl power, isn't it, clearly?
Isn't it? Bless him. So thanks for joining me today. If you're listening to today's episode, we will put Tejal's details in the show notes. If you want to get in contact with her for a rebrand or some advice about exhibiting, anything to do with branding, she's happy to deal with. So we will make sure all her details are in there. Best of luck for the awards this year. I'm
Thank
sure
you
we're
very
going to see
much.
you on many, many more stages collecting awards. And well done for what you've achieved so far. And good luck with the future
Thank you.
success of your business. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Thank you for having me. It's
Thank
been a
you.
delight.